So EA is in a really interesting position. They've got one of the most popular games in the world under their belt, and also one of the most disappointing AAA titles of the year. Yesterday, Respawn announced that it recently reached 50 million players for Apex Legends, which is incredible for a game that's only been out for about a month. And I mean, it deserves it because it really is a great game and will inevitably continue growing, and is great for both Respawn and EA. And also yesterday, reports that Anthem is shutting down players' consoles comes on top of all of the other negativity just surrounding the game. Some people are going as far as to say that Apex saved EA, and while it may be true that Apex certainly helped EA after the company started to slip up, I don't think this game alone saved EA, as I don't think EA was ever in any real danger, as they still have a few titles that make an insane amount of money year after year, like FIFA and Madden. I'm really hoping that EA will one day realize why a game like Apex is doing so well, while the other games they've recently released have just fizzled out. Apex is a complete game. It's a battle royale. You turn it on, you load up a match, and you play. You can do everything you're promised, and you've got the full experience right there. The roadmap is just icing on the cake. Everything else is just extra. That's how they're going to keep players. That's how the whole games as a service thing is supposed to be done. It didn't release in beta or anything. It released as a finished, complete product. And on top of all of this, it released with no hype, and it's absolutely free. If, say, Apex released the same way Battlefield 5 or Anthem released, bare bones or incomplete, Apex would have gotten a bad rep right out of the gate. It would have looked like just another cash grab by EA, and who knows what would have happened to Respawn if Apex didn't do well, especially after Titanfall 2 released at probably the worst possible time in between two huge competitors. And it's not that the core gameplay for Anthem and even Battlefield 5 are that bad, it's just that the experiences are so unpolished and unfinished, making them boring and somewhat frustrating to play. It used to be that if you spent $60 on a game, you were going to get a finished product. It may not have been perfect, but at least you were getting something complete that may have gotten a few patches down the line or updates if it was a multiplayer game. And this wasn't even that long ago. But nowadays, you spend $60 on a game at release, and you're buying a game that's 3/4 of the way done, but you'll get a day one roadmap letting you know when it'll be complete. The biggest offenders of this to me are Activision and EA. Anthem is preparing to release Act 1, which would be fine and all, but I mean, Act 1 should be enhancing and furthering the Anthem experience, not just finishing the game. I really believe that Anthem should have been delayed. I wish that games were delayed more often when they weren't finished. I know that it probably has to do with shareholders and whatnot breathing down the company's neck, but I think that if Anthem were delayed until it was finished, we would be having fun with Anthem. We would actually like it. As I said, the core gameplay is actually sort of fun. There are just too many hiccups between getting stuck after finishing a mission, the frame rate being completely unstable, and the pacing of the missions are kind of boring. Personally, I'm becoming a bit tired of the looter shooter genre. There's something about it that still hooks me in at the beginning, but I can't play them for too long without getting bored. But there's something oddly satisfying about Anthem's combat every once in a while. It looks good, it sounds really good, but only when everything's working. It can get old sort of quick, but the javelins steal the show and are fun to use, but again, it can get old quick. That is, when you do actually get to fight. Apex, on the other hand, doesn't really have any major problems other than the occasional crashing, and when a problem does arise, Respawn is quick to address it. The only other problem with the game to me are that the prices for cosmetics are incredibly high. $18 for a skin in a first-person shooter is just too high in my opinion, whether the game is free or not. But we've got the battle pass on the way, along with new legends, new weapons, and a new map, I believe. I've praised the gameplay of Apex enough in another video, so I won't harp on it here. Apex and Anthem both have the same publisher, the big bad EA. They're both doing the games as a service thing, and each game is handling it differently. Apex is handling it the way I believe this model should be done. Anthem did it the way that all of us are tired of. They're cutting content, cutting corners, drip feeding, and this isn't really a knock on Anthem the game, it's more on EA. I'm not really one to hop on the whole EA's bad bandwagon, as we've all heard it so many times, but Anthem is just so disappointing to me. We have no idea how well it sold just yet. All we know is that retail sales are pretty bad in the UK, and I don't even want to be this way, but I hope that Anthem didn't do well. I know there are probably some extremely passionate people on the dev team, but this is EA's third feature flop in a row. If it's free to play or in beta or whatever, that's alright, it can be excused, but once you charge someone $60, you have to put your best foot forward, especially if you promise one thing but deliver something else. I can't think of any other industry where it's okay to sell someone a product months, even years in advance, and then when the product arrives, it's not all put together, or they'll send you the rest of it in a few months. I think the gaming industry is the only industry where this is like normal practice, and people actually defend the companies doing this. Again, I don't mean to be so negative, but I don't see how someone can be completely happy with an unfinished product and then wholeheartedly defend the product while calling those who are upset by it toxic. Imagine if I had bought something like a couch. Say I bought a couch and it arrived with just the base and no cushions, but I was promised that I'd get the cushions for free over the course of a few months. I would not be okay with that. And this isn't to say that the model is just absolutely terrible. It just needs to be done the right way. As I've said in the past, I love the way Ubisoft handles For Honor and even Rainbow Six, but mainly For Honor, as just about everything can be earned with in-game currency, and there was no content stripped out of the base game to hand us later. I haven't personally played this game in a long time, but you guys let me know that Warframe does an incredible job with the way the game is handled. Even if you don't like it, Fortnite has handled itself well after release, if you want to call it a release, since the game has been and will continue to be in its quote-unquote beta state. And now, of course, Apex seems to be handling itself right. I'm out of the honeymoon stage with the game after playing it for so long, and I'm still having a good time. It seems as though Respawn has a very clear plan as to what's ahead, and I'm hoping that EA shifts. I know that they're a huge business and rely on experts and projections to make decisions, but Apex was a risk. EA took a chance with Apex, and I hope that they take more chances. In an interview with Game Informer not too long ago, Drew McCoy, a Respawn executive producer, talked about a few things that sort of took me by surprise. He says that Respawn wanted to make this game and that this isn't what EA was expecting. He goes on to say that EA had no hand in development or anything about the game. And maybe it's because EA didn't have a huge presence while developing Apex that it turned out so well. Maybe it's because there's less content in Apex than in a traditional AAA title. But even if that's the case, Apex was in development since the spring of 2017. Anthem has been in development for over half a decade at 6 years. Plenty of time to fully polish a $60 title. I know that EA has sort of been who I've been coming at in this video, but the same criticism I'm firing at EA can be given to so many other studios, Bethesda, Activision, Ubisoft, and so on. I can't tell you the last time that I've been pleased with a huge AAA title. I think maybe Red Dead 2 last October, but only the single player part, as Red Dead Online just isn't cutting it. At this point, I can't even really be hyped up for a game unless it's a single player experience. I mean, The Division 2 has promise. I didn't really get to play the open beta for too long, but what I played was pretty good. I'll have to play it more before I can really tell you how I feel. But that's the next big title releasing, and I can't even really be excited for it, as anytime I get my hopes up for a game, I just get disappointed. And again, I don't want to be like that, but that's just how it is. I want to like these games. I want to enjoy them because, believe it or not, I actually enjoy playing video games. And I will try to enjoy a game like with Fallout 76, but in the end, reality just sets in. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I know it's way different than usual, but I've wanted to make this type of video for a while as it's just been on my mind. I do have hope though that since Apex was built off of trust basically, that other publishers will follow suit. I didn't think I'd see a game actually compete with Fortnite for a long time, and Apex doesn't even want to really follow in Fortnite's footsteps in terms of their insane update schedule. I'm quoting from that same interview, but McCoy said that they care a lot about the competitive integrity of the game, so they wouldn't put something in that's incredibly unbalanced. It has to bake in the oven for a long time and be balanced, and that's the kind of thing I love to hear. Anyways, I plan on making a few more videos like this to go along with my regular content, as I do have more time to make videos now and have always wanted to put my 2 cents in on more topics. But I want to go about it the way I do with all my videos, you know, trying to be fair and not give in to the outrage, as it's fun to just hate on things. But I also want to be blunt and honest. So please, if you made it this far into the video, I'd love to know how you feel about that. And as usual, I do just want to hear from you guys, so talk to me down in the comments about anything I talked about in this video. And if you agree with me or just like the video, feel free to like, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.